Hi everyone, this is what's going on in the world of bad credit mortgages this week. So, firstly, rates are up and down all the time, as you know. Lenders are fighting it out at the minute for market share, and there's some really competitive rates out there for people who've got bad credit, even with severe issues. To put some perspective on it, best fixed rate in the minute in the market is 4.2%. Even if you've had a bankruptcy in the last 3 years, rates start with a 6. So it kind of gives you a good idea about what's possible. And if your issues aren't as bad as a bankruptcy, maybe it's default CCJs or some late payments or something, they can start with a 4, maybe a 5. So the gap between the best in the market and what you would perceive as maybe being the worst is not as big as you'd think. Quick review then of bad credit lenders this week. So in the whole market, there's over 100 lenders, 10,000 plus mortgages. Bad credit, a lot of people still think that you can't get a mortgage, there's no lenders for you. Well, that isn't true, as we know. So we're helping hundreds of customers every month. In fact, the last week, 120, to get my notes up, 128 bad credit customers were helped in the last week. So everybody going to the right advisor, you can get the right answer, and that's why we're here. What you qualify for obviously depends on what issues you've had. I'll run through that in a bit of detail. So missed payments at the minute. If your missed payments were 3 years or so ago, loads of lenders for you. Depends on your credit score with some of them, obviously, but there's loads of lenders like 80 plus. In the last 3 years, maybe half of that if you've had more recent missed payments. Defaults, CCJs, between 3 and 6 years ago, 70 lenders. In the last 3 years, a few less than that. If you've had more recent CCJs and defaults, like in the last 12 months, there's about 15 lenders still for you. Obviously, depends on what deposit you've got as to which ones you'll qualify for, and everything else that goes with it, affordability and your property and things like that. So, debt management plans. 3 to 6 years ago, 58 lenders in the market at the minute at least. If you've had one in the last 3 years, there's still 36 lenders that will consider you. If you've currently got a debt management plan, there's at least 26 lenders in the market that will consider your application, depending on what deposit you've got. Bankruptcy, I mentioned before, 3 to 6 years ago, discharge, 38-ish lenders. If it was in the last 3 years, 10 lenders still available for you. Obviously depends on what deposit you've got, but there's double figures lenders. Repossessions, if that was in the last 6 years. Now some lenders, if you've ever been repossessed, they won't consider you, and if it was with the lender that you're now applying for, forget it. But there are some lenders that will lend if it was happened in the last 6 years, there's about 35. If it happened in the last 3 years, there's about 10 lenders for repossessions. And then IVAs, if it was in the last 3 to 6 years, there's about 40 odd lenders, 46-ish, that will do IVAs. If they were registered discharged 3 to 6 years ago. If it was in the last 3 years, that comes down to like 15 lenders. If you've actually still currently got an IVA, there will be lenders for you. There's about 8 in the market at the moment. So you can see, big spectrum, loads of lenders out there. What I would suggest you do, go and play with our amazing comparison tool. There's nothing quite like it on the internet. We show you rates based on the criteria, so you can play with that. Better yet though, that will only give you an idea. No comparison tool will ever tell you what you're eligible for. You need to speak to an expert. So make an inquiry, one of the guys will go through it with you. It don't cost you anything up front to talk to them. And then you'll get one of these little mortgage reports. So they'll tell you what you're eligible for, what you can afford, what it's all going to cost. Take that away, and when you're ready, you can crack on. So yeah, thank you. Speak to you soon.